dawn. Right now, I got a few words from some of our residents. Occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans. Another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the line, this is your song. We look at firearms in film and entertainment each Wednesday, historically, into the future, and back again. Movies, books, magazines, games, and now podcasts, videos, and even memes. Tactical quiz. Are you ready for a tactical challenge today? Let's check out the photographs that used the hashtag Daily Gun Show this week. Check out the Daily Gun Show on Instagram, MeWe, and the actual internet.
Welcome to the first Wednesday show of noontime supplement to our Daily Gun Show podcast. Join us tonight where we'll elaborate on everything brought up here today. I might want to grab some popcorn or something to drink. This one should be a fun one. We'll have some things to participate in, and looking forward to the conversation with the premiere or comments below with your answers to some of the questions today. Have fun. Thanks for being here. Give us some feedback. Let's start out the show with a tactical quiz. This is episode 1223 after all. You're going to see 9 images of 223 cartridges show up on the screen. And if anyone can correctly identify all 9 before the answers show up a little later in the podcast, then maybe something special might happen. So the question is, do you pause and try to win this technical quiz, or do you keep watching and let this one pass? How difficult this one might be. We'll see if anybody attempts it. But 9, 2, 2, 3 rounds. Let's go on with the show.
Now it is time for our gun movie review of the day.
Today's new movie for the gun review is a movie called Kalashnikov. And, this is the new one. I think it would be out in theaters. There's theaters right now. But it's Russian language. You see the translation of it. And it's, like the name implies, it's the story of Kalashnikov, his rifle, how it was invented, his inspiration, I guess, and the story of how he persisted to have it evolve in the Soviet situation they had. I'm not going to say I'm an expert. I do have some of the books that explain the story in different ways, and over the years that stories has evolved and more nuanced, more information is developed. And this book or this movie doesn't necessarily follow any of the books directly. You can tell that in some ways it is a dramatization to get concepts across, but overall I really liked it. It's not in any way a historical documentary. But I think it was well acted, and the story gives you the gist of the evolution of the Kalashnikov. Some broad strokes or from a bird's eye view that somebody who hasn't really dug in and read the story of Kalashnikov or the development of the machine. Someone who's just getting the exploration of that, they might appreciate. And if there's anybody who's not a nerd, might just like it as an interesting exploration of where the rifle came from and life in the Soviet lands at that time. All right, so that's our first movie review. Flash.
Now it is time for Cash of the Day. 30. Accent.
Take another look at this portion of the collection for Patch of the Day. Today we talk about patches. Today we're going to talk about my favorites from awesome. And then we got this empty one. I always like that. Let's see. We've got wheeled and well armed chair. We've got the helicopter one. Let's see. What other vehicles do we got out here? We got a couple space ones. That's Geisley. There was a spaceship, I guess, if you count his suit as a space vehicle. It kind of is. We do have a space vehicle here on the X-Files looking thing. from Cha-Cha this year. And is that all the vehicles? I guess I picked a really lame topic for, guess we could talk about some Air Force stuff. I got an actual Air Force patch there. It's, Air Force, I guess. And, I guess we really have a lot of patches that are vehicle. None of mine are out here. We have some van patches, of course. And, yeah, I guess this was one of the lamer ones. If you see some vehicle-related stuff out here that I'm missing, I could easily be missing stuff. Chime in the comments. That's what it's all about. Otherwise, this one's short and sweet and maybe kind of lame. Vehicle patches in this collection, not very many, but let us know in the comments what you think. Now for today's Who Wins That War section of the tactical quiz, we'll go back to one of the original topics for discussion. Who's going to win, a bear or a monkey with a bunch of knives? This could be dicey, so dig in. We'll also ask who's going to win this war, the MAC-11 in 9mm or the Uzi in 9mm. And you can choose whatever parameters you want to make that decision. Let us know in the comments or join us tonight to back up your positions there. And then since it's Wednesday and we're looking at entertainment topics, any frozen pizza versus any frozen pizza bite. Is it better to get a frozen pizza or some sort of little pizza bite? Where's this war?
Now is it time for the channel of the day.
This is Channel of the Day, where we take a look at our YouTube channel. We go to the channel tab and we scroll down, sometimes at the top, sometimes in the middle, sometimes almost all the way to the bottom, which is what we'll do today. And let's click on Mr. Matt. So basically, Never Enough Ammo, our friend Matt protects us there. Channel of the Day.
I want to be in. What's your opinion on me today? Pod. Take a pod. Take a pod. Take a pod.
Now is it time for our free movie review of the day.
For today's free movie review, we're going to head over to our main page of YouTube. A little pancake menu that's up at the top left there. And you scroll down and go past the basic YouTube stuff and past the subscription list you're subscribed to. Then you'll find movies and shows is one of the defaults that we all have in that menu. That'll take you to a section of YouTube where they have a bunch of different movies. Now you can purchase movies here, like if you're on Amazon or Netflix or Hulu or something, but there's also free movies. And if you go down to the ways you see free movies to watch, you can click on View Them All, and then you're going to get a list of all kinds of interesting movies. Some of these are really cool. It's like a G version of these movies. Sometimes the
Now it is time for the book of the day.
taking a look look at gun books. We're going to go over to our playlists on our YouTube channel and go down a little bit to where it says gun book of the day, and then open that up. Actually, let's change that so that it says gun book of the day now. So this is a book that we were doing a series on Glock, I think. This is a bunch of Glock collection out here. And it's interesting. It's not necessarily a linchpin, but it's certainly been strategic and useful in the short amount of time it's been on the scene. So it was cool to spine angles on their books. But this was book of the day, one of the longer ones so far. We encourage you to share the stuff that you.
And now it is time for our patron swap meet. This is where our patrons get free stuff if they want it from our patron swap meet.
We're filming the Patreon swap meets. We just did number 13. We had to do about 100 rolls for that one. Let's see if we can get the next one here. A good roll. Number 8. Okay, we did number 8. Oh, number 16. We should go to 16. So, okay. Interesting game of D&D here. Now we got a number 17. We already rolled a 17 too. At first, when I jinxed it, I guess I was thinking we were going to roll continuously without getting any duplicates. Finally got a number 7, so this will be number 7. Reach way over here. This one we already tried giving away once a long time ago, so we'll see if we have any better luck this time. Put number 7 on here. And it's this Maxpeditions thing. Look, it's still in the package from the last time we tried to give this away. Forget how we were doing it last time. But there's a little Maxpedition thing. Actually, Maxpedition sent this to us. You have to think how many years ago. It was way before 2009. So, or no, maybe it was around 2009. So, yeah, just a little Maxpedition, little holder thing that just has about a million different ways you can fiddle with it. We actually used it quite a bit. We just would always tuck the tags into this first outside pocket when we used it. But we used it a lot, actually. I mentioned $5 to cover this. Questions, let us know in the comments. Until next time. And so here are the answers to that tactical quiz from before. The first one was PMC ammo, brass case. Next one is double tap, 55 grain solid. Next is SS 109 black tip. A Wolf steel case. A Remington UMC. And a hollow point brass case. Hot Shot Elite with that red sealant. Got the Remington zinc plated case. A Corbon with its Blitz King projectile, and then Steadfast 40 grain for frangible. How'd you do?
On Friday, we include free patches with each order at our gear website store. You purchase us keep our 2A projects on the line and on the road. Exclusive free patch designs for orders over $42 while supplies last. Home of the Free Patch Friday experience. New tools are giving us even more abilities. Stay tuned to our store for new 2A items soon.
That is the end of our.
All right. Well, so I don't know why Will and Arm left, but that was the daytime show. Figure I'd try running it at the beginning of this show, see if everybody'd show up, and that beginning part that was always lame. So Will was in here, but otherwise we got Barbecue jumped in first, I think, and then DJ jumped in. Thanks for joining.
Howdy.
And like I say, I don't know if Will understood what was doing there, but I was just playing the noon show, well, chunks of it here to get the show started. Started this one a little bit late. I was at the store, but yeah. So now we'll see. We got a Lockjaws out there tonight. Before it looks like Kingpin was out there. Might be after his bedtime. Those pins get put down. he's not in here anymore, DJ. He left. So
I'm here.
now Wield is back. He was gone.
Yeah,
And now-
sorry about that. I thought I joined some kind of recording from last week or something.
Yeah, no worries. I just try to explain what we did there. So
Okay.
then Outlaw was in here earlier, and Birch was there, but Crump was out there. I don't know if he's still out there or not. You guys were chatting a little bit before the show went live, and then let's see, Moo was out here. It looks like he did leave, and looks like then we got Watcha out there now. So if anybody wants to jump in, that's what this whole show is about, is having a live conversation in the evenings for those people who are not babies or old people that can handle staying up past midnight and having real conversations about guns, not whatever the news of the day is, not whatever the media is telling us to worry about, but instead remembering what it is we enjoy about firearms, why we get together at gun shows and at the range and go shooting. And it isn't because we're all freaking paranoid about the government going bad, and we're not all worried about the length of everything. We just enjoy shooting. So we can talk about shooting. We can talk about Second Amendment stuff. We can talk about real issues. I was watching a couple of things today, and let me see if did I leave notes? How do I even find this thing? I have to go to here, over to the YouTube video itself.
I got a question. I lost a couple of documents with stamps on them to NFA, so I'm afraid to take hands out if I can't. I don't even have a copy of them. So my family's out in the Grand Canyon and Zion this week, and so I'm tearing up the house looking for those paper. But man, I'd hate them.
You just read them or maybe just email them at this point, and they gave you new ones. They send out new ones.
Do they really?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
I
don't know what I mean.
Need to make a copy all the time, so you didn't have your real ones, but that was more of just not having your real everything.
Yeah, I lost the copy. I lost everything. I lost the folder with both of them in there. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the problems with that, having it be like that, is that it creates that kind of situation. So that's probably one of the reasons they created the situation in the first place, or at least that's one of the reasons they're happy that it exists, so that they can create problems like that.
Right.
Well, anyways, like I said, I watched a couple of things earlier. Walt did an interesting video about the ATF in Ohio, and his perception of, or his take on it. I think it was maybe 15 minutes. It wasn't very long. He showed the whole clip and then went through and kind of dissected it. And he had an interesting perspective there, I thought, about the punitive versus rehabilitative angle on crime fighting. And, in other words, good people in jail versus, rehabilitating. So that we got the stuff that we just saw in the chat there. The noontime show, of course, we can chat about that stuff if we want, but we're not obligated to. Like, say, the only thing I'm not going to talk about is whatever they just got done talking about for the last 5 hours and all these other chats. And all worried about it's frustrating. I don't know how many years I've been in these conversations watching people. Here's something that happened in the news, and it's usually some focus on low-hanging fruit. Somebody who did something crazy, and they're looking at it, and everyone then goes, well, that's an example of where the world's going. That's an example of everything that the other side thinks. That's an example of what the other side wants the world to be like. And then they start going from there. And then it almost always goes to what can we buy or what can we do to make ourselves real happy for a second while the other side's ganging up to get us. And it's, I'm not interested in doing that. If we want to dissect that phenomenon and how we as a group can get past that, I'm definitely interested in mechanisms. But just talking about the same old thing, that's the only thing I ask us not to talk about in here. But with that said, thanks for jumping in, guys. Go ahead and take a conversation. Aussie's out there. Hopefully other people showing up tonight. What do we want to talk about?
I saw a guy that was a Green Beret, started a survival class teaching mostly law enforcement, and he keeps getting canceled. I mean, he's got all his channels canceled except for YouTube. He's got about 130,000 followers on YouTube, and he was just griping that his bank accounts are getting PayPal canceled him and just said, sue us. We're keeping the money. He's having a lot of issues. I mean, and he's not even in guns. He's just in survival. They said, well, he goes, I don't have guns on my channel. They said, well, you have dangerous looking knives. So he's asking for people in the 2A community to get together and say, hey, I do banking, I do this, I can offer this, and see if you can get together a community of people to go around Silicon Valley and invent our own. But he's not a big fan of Parler because Parler, is hard, pushes out the lefties out. And he said, I want a place that's normal, where people both left and right can have dialogue.
You hit a lot of stuff there. So I think the last part that's how, in my opinion, Parler is also. It is what it is. Nothing's perfect, and it's far from perfect. But Instagram has really kicked themselves in the nuts really hard. Like, they tried really hard to grab the biggest ball peen hammer they could and knock themselves right in the nuts with it, because it's just horrible to use Instagram over the last couple of days, maybe a week or so. But Parler's not perfect. But the problem with Parler is that it's boring as hell. Nobody I know over there that does anything normal everywhere else does anything normal on Parler. They just sit there. And the people that are using Parler are boring. They're like, hey, here's a review of a gun, or here's a review of a thing I got given to me. And it's just, I don't know, I find that boring. So, it's not like Instagram where there's all these little conversations going and jokes and, there's all these little ways that people are communicating back and forth and throwing little pictures and jokes and stuff at each other, or this reminded me of this, or like stuff happening. Like, you need the stuff. You need the stuff happen. You need the stuff being posted for the conversations to happen. For some people, at least the people I'm familiar with, are content with just having a conversation, basically. Evolving. I don't know a better word for conversation, but the dialogue on these platforms, as opposed to just using them to sell or whatever, motivate people to do something all the damn time.
This guy was canceled by Chase Bank and their mobile app, their B2B app. So I mean, he's taking all his money out of Chase and figuring out what to do with it.
Well, I wish I could tell you. I wish I had $1 for every time somebody complained about their bank. There's no bank is perfect and no bank is evil. I think people do things to piss off their banks, and sometimes banks do things out of nowhere. And what can we do about it? Like, we live in a world where there's, electronic banking and stuff. Like, we got to use it. So,
well, under Obama, he tried to, push pawn shops and gun shops and all these different companies out of the banking industry, kind of like pushing them into like that no man's land, like the marijuana industry is. And so they came up, the gun shops invented their own banking platform, kind of. So they all process credit cards through, I don't know, through China or something.
No, they don't. They didn't, and they don't. Gun shops.
I don't know how they're doing it, but they came up with an alternative system.
Someone may have come up with an alternative system, but I can guarantee you that all gun shops don't work together. All gun shops don't use. There's like, I don't know, at least 5 major platforms that try to get gun shops, like either their registers or their websites and their inventories. But all gun shops, one, aren't using the same computers or the same level of interest in electronics. I mean, there's barely any, but there must be some gun shops using pencil and paper still. I mean, you can. So if they can, somebody is. But, as soon as you get into computers, I mean, the shop I worked at, the register had nothing to do with the computer, other than you would run out a register receipt, like literally a piece of paper receipt of the transactions at the end of the day, and somebody would go to a spreadsheet and start reconciling that or whatever, reconciling that. But that was an old-fashioned shop doing old-fashioned way. I've seen shops, I never worked at one, where they have the inventory tied in, where you order it from your middleman. The middleman supplies the website and all the software in the store, including the registers. Half the time, the registers nowadays are just tablets anyway, so the software can just get streamed to it. And the middleman who supplies you your ammo and your guns and your holsters and pretty much everything, unless you have a specific relationship with a supplier for something else, everything that middleman has is going to run that store, and that's the, like I say, the website and everything. So you can tell as soon as you go to like 8 or 9 different websites, gun shops, you start seeing the similarities. You can tell there's these systems that they're all sharing. So anyway, so that kind of stuff is one thing. There's like 5 of them. So they're right away, you got 5 different options, but they're still not even all using those things. So gun shops aren't doing anything. As far as the tech side of it, you can't just put together a money thing. Money is super, 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 what's the word? Like, people are going to go after it, right? To what's the word? Like, they're trying to hack into it and steal it. So money's super security conscious. So they have to do all kinds of stuff. So there are cryptocurrencies. I don't think they did that in reaction to Obama's thing. I forget what they called Obama's thing, but Obama's thing again it's tough. That's the problem, and that's why I get frustrated after so long. Especially we're about to go into like an onslaught. We all know that. Either way, it's happening. More than likely, it's happening with the one guy. But even if it happens with the other guy, what we're going to end up with is uncertain times ahead, right? Well, it's not the first time we've had that, but a lot of people either have never been through hard times, or they're going to make money getting people excited about the hard times, right? So that's why I'm thinking, why are we going to sit around and just, do the same old again, and let either the same exploiters come by and exploit us with the same old song, or just let somebody else come along with that same old song and just sit down and take over the piano and just start singing that song again. Because it's real easy to just get a bunch of people who are frustrated to give up and be desperate and buy stuff to make the pain go away. As capitalists, we do that. And I wish that it didn't happen at every single time there's been stress. And a couple of times I fell for it. But because I don't, I'm not saying everybody's wrong or nothing. I'm just saying we don't win when all we do is react. If we don't get our heads together, especially the oldest of us who have been through this more than a couple of times, we don't do anything by just helping the young people do what we did before. I mean, here's how you panic. Here's how you get a bunch of stuff, paranoid piles of stuff. But in real life, look at Venezuela, look at Brazil, or one of these countries that actually fell apart. Nobody's like in their little mansions with like a bunch of stuff and, it all falls apart like Red Dawn or whatever. It falls apart slowly, and it's like, dang, so-and-so lost their job. Oh, so-and-so lost their job. And then it gets really tense. And then it's like, things get slight. Now nobody has house pets anymore. And then, the government is supplying the bread now. I mean, it gets crazy and slow. It's not like there's an enemy in the street that you get to shoot at, and then when they fall over, it goes away and everything's back to normal again. So anyway, so I just get frustrated when we know we got weird times coming ahead, but everybody's comfortable reaction is to do the similar to the same.
Yeah, I know. I bought 10 magazines last week, same reaction of what you're talking about. But, they're good magazines, so just a good investment to have. Have you ever used the Duramags?
No, I don't play around. I used to use regular mags, and then when I've learned that mags you can get better than than issue mags, so I went with the P mags, which I tested and evaluated, then they were definitely better in almost every way than aluminum mags. So I just went with those and done.
Yeah, these are aluminum mags, and they're pretty incredible. So,
which one?
They're called Duramag Speed. They're not welded. They're post and they're hole and post on the seam. They've got each magazine is designed for the particular caliber. So there's one for 300 blackout, one for 223 or 556. Then there's one for Beowulf and all the big boys. But the follower is specially designed to push up at the right angle, per caliber. So every follower is different. It's got all the anti-tilt in there. It's coated with some kind of anodize on both the outside and inside, so it's not just kind of painted like GI mags. So they're a lot different than GI mags, but still familiar, and they beat all the GI specs. So, and they're only $9.90, or I got them for $11 each.
Well, yeah, that's C Products. So
Yeah,
that's the name. Man, that's a decent company.
yeah, they changed their name like 6 months
For
ago.
a long time, if you just got regular mags that were made better, like you're saying, like the GI or the mil spec or whatever is just like it's sturdy, dependable, consistent size and strength and everything. But you get hard, you can make it more robust. So for a while they're just getting a standard GI mag and then maybe made better. Or maybe made out of better materials was about the best you could do until PMAX came along.
Yeah, so I mean, like on my old ones, I put all new followers in, and but these have a lifetime spring, so you never have to unload them and then reload them again. The springs are good. You can put 30 rounds in there and keep them for 30 years, and they're still supposed to be good.
I don't know about all that, but I guess that's
the marketing.
Better than before or whatever.
Yeah.
I had mags, I don't know, that I'd had basically forever, maybe Y2K or something. Would that have been all right? No, that wouldn't have been enough time. I might have had mags that I had just had for the longest amount of time, I guess, which at the time I think maybe was like 10 years loaded or something. Anyway, at some point when I first started doing a YouTube channel and everybody started going to YouTube for the conversation, and most of my videos were always like, let me answer a question. It's just easier to make a video than to try to explain it, or to, there's no reason to explain it when I can just show you. And one of them was taking apart some old mags that had been loaded for a long, long time. And then I just grabbed a new one, and it was quite a bit of difference. It was about half as squished with the old one sitting there after all that, and never being unloaded ever, I don't think. Just new mag, loaded it, set it aside. Back in the day, I used to put them in like these bandoliers and, just sat there for however many years. And then anyway, so that they definitely do get squished after some amount of time. So I could see, and that was a mag from probably the 80s or something that I bought in the 90s. So not exactly new technology or nothing. I'm sure they've dinked around with stuff like that since the 30 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah, so I numbered all my mags today. I took every mag out and numbered them all. So all my Glock magazines have numbers on them, so all the Glock 17, all the Glock 19, all the Glock 26, each have numbers on them. So if I do have a malfunction, I can remember which number it is versus, being in dum-dum land the next time I go out to the range.
Oh yeah, I always number them. And then for a long time, especially with like Glock mags where they're common, we would do something else sometimes, like a little doohickey or a star or square or something, just to for easily identify if they are a bunch of them laying on the ground, which ones, whose were whose. Because sometimes if it just says 8 or 1 or something, like, is that my 1 or your 7,
Another thing you could do, Wield, is take like a paint marker or something, keep it in your range bag. That way, if you do have a malfunction, you could have like a red paint marker, just put a little mark on it. That way, because even if you're going off of numbers, do you go, oh, well, number 37 had a malfunction today, but if you forget it was number 37, you're still kind of SOL. But if you got a different marker to mark that, let you pull it out, you look at it, oh, this was the one, and discard it.
I like that. And then do that, and then if once you get, you fix it, you put it back in the pile, and then something happens again, and you put a second mark on it, you can determine, does this one get a third mark or is it dead? Is it gone? And then if it happens again, then never use this mag again.
Another thing that you could do, as far as just identifying your personal magazines if you're out training with other people, things like that. I like to get DOT tape from. You can just go get it at Walmart. You can get it at truck stops, obviously, but it's a reflective tape that you put on the rub rails of a semi, and I like to put that on the base plates of my magazines. That way, well, I don't do it anymore because I'm not going out and training in the dark and looking for magazines. But if you're doing any training in the dark, or say by the time you get to clean up your magazines, it's getting dark, and you have to be searching around with a flashlight. When the flashlight hits those base plates, it'll reflect back. You can easily find your magazines. Plus, you're probably going to be the only person that has reflective tape on your magazines if it's daylight, and makes for easy identification that way too.
Yeah, good idea. I put numbers on each side and on the bottom, and type of weapon they fit in. So, I got like CZ Compact or CZ 75. And then the number.
Really only brought one time I went to Front Sight, and I brought it because in Nevada, you have to have every gun you want to carry, you got to have on your CCW. So, and it has to be that gun. So you can't be like, I want a Glock on my CCW. You have to say, I want this Glock on my CCW. And if you got 3 Glock 19s that you might carry, you got to bring all 3 of them in Nevada, at least back in the day, to Nevada. And then they put the serial number and everything on your stupid CCW. So, what was it? Yeah, it was on the CCW. So I figured since I don't know, I was still kind of new at the time. I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to carry. So I'm going to I brought a Glock and it was an XD. But they, those XDs have a stainless mag and Glocks have a plastic mag. So that was pretty easy. But that was pretty much the only time I brought like different kind of mags to a class or what. But I don't really own, like you're saying, like a Beretta and a CZ and I don't know, any number of like probably 15, 20 guns already at this point have basically the same mag well, and they all use the same mag body, and their base plates might be different. Their followers are certainly different. Their holes are going to be in different places and stuff. But yeah, I imagine on the ground, like they all pretty much look pretty similar.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you start looking at high power, Browning high power versus CZ, they look pretty much identical. They're hard to tell.
One of the things when I was young, still bought 9mm and metal guns. I was buying these Rugers, those P89s, I think. Maybe, no, they're P85s. I think I had P85s. And so I would dollar cost my way into a bunch of mags by buying mags at every show. And that's when I figured out that half the time I could buy, because other people were doing the same thing, you could buy this kind of mag because it was on sale and just take it home and drill a hole here, and now it worked in your Ruger. Or you could drill a hole over there and it would work in a Beretta. Like, I don't remember the exact models anymore, but a whole bunch of these guns, they all had the same, because a 9mm is a 9mm, and you double stack it. Like you can double stack it one way, and there's no point in double stacking it because it's not even double stacked. It's just staggered, right? There's no point. And you double stack it too much and it doesn't work anymore. So, just because of the physics of it, all these mags are basically the same channel. And the mag suppliers are like, hey, if you use this mag tube, it'll save you a bunch of money because I'm already doing it for Beretta. And I'm sure that's exactly what they said. I'm 100% sure in those business meetings, they went like this. We're already making a Beretta mag. So if you just drill the hole somewhere else, you can save a lot of money. And they were like, okay, we're starting with a Beretta mag because almost every single mag is a Beretta mag. And I think it's a Beretta mag. It might be like a CZ mag, and I just don't know. But it seemed like to me like they were all Beretta mags with holes drilled in different places.
Yeah, they are Beretta mags. I was messing around the one day with my Beretta, and like you guys are saying, you look at the mags, you're like, wow, these are really similar. And I pulled out my P95, and I was like, I wonder. And they would go up in, and obviously they wouldn't lock because of the magazine release catch slot was in different areas, but all you have to do is take a Dremel and a little cutoff wheel and notch out where you need them, and they'd work just fine.
Oh, here's a pro tip. If you just have to knock out a very small diameter hole, just use the 9mm. Shoot a hole in there.
And if you need a real small hole, use a 22.
All right, I feel like we're dredging the bottom of the barrel if we're talking about 9mm topics here. So we were up to 9 people watching, and now we're down to 6. So either the number fell over, like one of them cheap hotel rooms, or everybody's falling asleep or something. I don't know. It's the day before Thanksgiving. So back in the olden days, people would hang out and have conversations in Turbo because everybody had tomorrow off. But I don't coddle to the fist in the sky. Let's all mope and grope, I guess. I guess that's what they do probably in the side chats. They're groping each other. And then in the main chat, they're moping. But if anybody's out there and wants to chat, jump in or wiggle your fingers and text over there. But I don't know. I'm just putting on my sweatshirt here. It's getting cold. You guys got other topics? Like, say, we've been talking 9mm. Like, we talked 9mm so long on my show.
Well, I'm going to go with the 9mm subject for like 30 more seconds. Little fun fact for the Ruger P85 is it's pretty much a poor man's Sig Sauer P226. If you compare the two guns side by side, they're almost identical with the shape of the grip, width. What's that?
A P85?
Yeah.
And a what gun?
Sig P226.
No. Let me go look.
I've got a 229. I really like shooting it. It's a good gun.
Yeah, cause Ruger was. What's that?
You're crazy. I had a Ruger, and that was like my first gun that I bought. That was like my first handgun when I was a little kid. So, I mean, I know every inch of a stupid Ruger P85. They're kind of, no, there's no way, dude. They're different.
Oh, I'm not saying like.
The worst thing is the Ruger's got the stupid stuff on the slide. So right off the bat, the Ruger's worse. But the bore height or whatever on a Sig is ridiculous. I don't know why people like Sigs. I guess people that live in like the upstairs apartment like Sigs because they're used to looking at everything from the top.
But no, I'm just saying width and weight, all that good stuff, they're very similar. I mean, obviously, if you were to look at it, you got, oh, this one's a Sig P226, this one's a Ruger P85. But if you're ever looking at a Sig 226 and you're like, man, that's expensive, go seek out a P85. They're awesome little guns.
No. You could, that shit'll pass in match chat because they're low class. They're like, oh, you got a fucking Pabst. That's the same as fancy champagne because they got bubbles in them. Hell no. So first off, the Sig has what is that? I know I'm looking at the pictures of it here. Sig's got a, I guess we could do this right. Boom, boom, boom. The Sig's got, what am I trying to say? A, what do they call it when it drops the hammer? Hammer drop?
Decocker?
Decocker, thanks. It's got a decocker up by your thumb. And the Ruger has its idiot decocker on the slide in the back, right? Let me go grab a picture of the Ruger. We're talking P85, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
The
P85
Sig's got 3 buttons there. So you got the decocker, they've got the safety, and then they got the takedown tool, right?
Now, there's no safe on this one. This one is a slide lock or slide release, whatever you want to call it. This is the mag release, and this is a decocker. But I don't believe there is a safe on this one. There's not a safe T that flips on and off. This
Okay.
is just action only carry gun. I'm guessing because I don't see this. This couldn't be. This is just a decocker. So unless I'm wrong and somehow you wiggle it and that turns into a safety, I could be wrong. It's a SIG, so there's probably extra parts that it's from Germany, right? So I don't know what they're doing to it. But I'm just saying a Ruger. Here's the thing about a Ruger. Do you ever own the Ruger barbecue?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically a piece of aluminum that's just barely the size of the mag, and then this stupid little thin grip panel. That was the beauty of it. And then it had this goofy, but I kind of like, I'm trying to get a good picture of it. The mag release is goofy. It was a little tiny lever like you'd expect to have on a camera or a vehicle or something. It just was a goofy lever that was probably bad because it was probably easy to disengage and drop your mag. But it was 1985. They were just figuring it out. It was a metal gun. But it was aluminum. That was insane. All this curviness I hated, but it's a 9mm. They're going to be dumb looking like that. But mainly it's the what do you call like the slide? I'd call it a slide release on this one just because it's so massive. I call it a slide lock when they're little, but also a slide lock. You'd call it a slide lock, I think, when it goes up, right? When it's designed to go up. This one is only designed really to go down. So I would definitely call this a slide release, but it comes from the trigger going backwards. So you're pulling down on the long end of the fulcrum. The trigger, or I'm saying the mag release is horrible over here. And it might have been ambidextrous. I might have had a boner for ambidextrous shit back in the day because that was, I think, the first ambidextrous gun. And then it had, this is an 89. So is that an 85? Maybe that is an 85 and it just was smaller on your side. But it had its safety and its decocker up on the slide. And at the time, that was the shit. But it was the dumbest thing ever. It was like, it's Ruger. They don't know what they're doing. So it's this little small thing. It's on the slide. You pull it down and it's a safe, and then you pull it all the way and it decocks. It was ridiculous. Now, I don't know how that SIG went, but basically I'm saying the SIG is way different because it's better. It's way better made. It was slimmer, flatter, and then all your controls are with your thumb, where the Ruger, you're going all over the place. I guess technically it's with your thumb, but like way down here, way up here, and you're doing different stuff. You're going all over the place up here. You're pushing down here. And now you're pulling down on a lever that you got. Even I have to reach for, like on it with a big hand and a little gun. Like this is just not well placed, but like here, and here on the SIG, here, and here. Like boom, they're right next to each other, and it's button like you expect. It's slide lock up and then slide release down, like you'd kind of expect on a decent gun. And then, like I say, this might be a safety, but I'm sure it's a decocker where you just pull down really hard with your thumb. But your thumb never had to leave this, like, what is that, 11 o'clock to 9 o'clock area, where with this, you're going from like 8 o'clock all the way up to midnight or maybe even 1, depending on where your hand's at. And the Ruger seems so thin. It basically seems like you're holding the magazine. I can't really tell you on the SIG, but I'm guessing because the SIG usually has this butt swell down here, it feels like you're holding the magazine with a golf ball wrapped around it. I'm guessing because that's how SIGs usually feel for me. That's why I couldn't go with they're the same gun. Plus, this gun probably cost $700, and this gun at the time was like $185 or $200.
Oh yeah, that's why I called it the poor man's SIG. Because, like I said, it's. I mean, obviously there's little differences, but I'm talking overall size, weight, whatnot. They're almost identical. Like if you were to take a pair of calipers and measure the width of the P85 and the SIG 226, they're, I think, off by like 1/10 of an inch.
Well, okay, but holding them, they're way different. And I don't know. I don't know what was the P226 as old as the 85?
I'm not 100% on that. I know the P85 was actually developed for the military, and then the military selected the Beretta, obviously.
Yeah, it was like hell no. But because I would say no, it's definitely the SIG is newer. But here's one without a rail. But the rail is way newer than the Rugers. The Rugers, there wasn't a thing yet. I don't think even till
there's only one Ruger that's got a rail, and it's like one of the P90 somethings. And
It's the P95.
but it's like its own goofy proprietary rail. Back in
Yeah.
the day, we would do this. We would clamp with screws a laser onto the front of the trigger guard with a pressure switch, and we thought that was awesome. We thought that was like Terminator right there. But that was ridiculousness. Anyhow, so yeah, it was a little bit of a topic, but I like say Matt's chat. Yeah, you can go ahead and call a $200 gun a $600 gun, but I will not in this chat. But even though I had the Ruger, I'd say the SIG is probably a better gun. Well, it is a better gun. I don't know if I did own a SIG for a while. I don't think I own that SIG. Shit, maybe I did own that SIG. No, I owned a 40. Do they make a SIG 226 in 40?
I want to say I've seen it, but I can't say definitively. But I think they're making them interchangeable now because I've seen 229s that are 9mm.
Oh, so, but I'm saying it might have been a different SIG model. I don't really pay attention. I liked it the time that I had a SIG, but I did not mind selling it. So, Ozzy's saying he found out today that his Smith & Wesson is part of the recall. I think you'll be able to get it. I doubt you'll be able to get it back before Christmas, honestly. I mean, it'd be pretty tough unless you had already sent it back, I guess. It's possible, though, I guess. I don't know. Although they're well, I guess if they are getting a bunch of them, they might be all set up to return, just to switch them out or something. I don't know what they have to do. But that was for your kid.
What's going on with those? I heard about the recall, but I didn't hear what exactly they were recalled for.
What was recalled? Barbecue. What was recalled?
The Smith & Wesson 380 EZ.
The 9mm.
No, the 380.
Oh, 380.
Another one he's saying is a gun.
Oh, was it both of them?
I don't know. I have no idea what you're even talking about, though. So it must have been something that you got to send it back. Is that what you're saying? Okay, I don't know if you're saying stuff.
Are you asking me or Ozzy?
I don't know. You're the one who brought it up. I don't know anything about it.
Oh no, I was asking if anybody knew what the recall was for. Because I heard about the recall, but I don't know what they're recalling it for.
Yeah, the odd thing for me, I think I'm in here twice.
Right. He's saying something to do with the internal hammer slam firing.
That's definitely no good.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes these things are, dangerous, and then other times it's like, well, we figured out that if we do this and we do this and then this happens, and now we can sue you. So, and it's like some effort to, just some effort to mess with them or to.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that they were an internal hammer. I thought they were striker fired.
All right, I'm like 3 ons in. Still got big people out there. Oh dang! I left this crapping thing on my head. Dang it!
I don't know if DJ's coming back. I'll throw the link out there if anybody else wants to jump in. I'm not falling asleep. I'm not super awake. I could sit here chatting for a while, or we could wrap it up. It is an hour. Wrap it up now. I could get to doing some other projects. Oh, I guess I started late. I was gonna say, why is it a half an hour? Why is it 11:30? Anyway, we could start it now. I could still get some other projects done tonight, or if y'all want to be part of a conversation, throw some stuff out there. Barbecue's usually down for chatting. I don't know if DJ's. He said something about having something to do. So was he saying he's out? Well, I guess he didn't tell us, but he might have something to do. He might be working or something. I don't know how long-wheeled Scott, but usually we got stuff to, we got 3 brains and mouths here. Topics, throw it out. We got 9 people watching now. Otherwise, if you got any other topics, you guys got any topics? Otherwise, we can wrap it up.
Can you hear me?
You say something, Wheel?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, why don't we talk about Thanksgiving real quick, and then wrap it up that way?
Sure. Although food topics tend to get going, so that might take another 2 hours, but go for it.
All right. Well, I'd like to be thankful for my country, for my family. My family is out traveling out west right now. Miss them. Going to have Thanksgiving dinner with my mom and then my stepmom over the weekend. So thankful for everybody I'm able to see. Just hoping to get through these times of COVID and everything back to normal, and our country getting back on the right track, whether we have a Biden president or a Trump president. But anyway, we'll get through it. That's kind of it for me.
That's good to hear. I don't know what the deal is with being split up, but I guess that sounding I'm guessing that's lame, but I'm guessing it's for a good reason or something. DJ was saying he's spending time with his mom also. I would normally be doing something similar, but everybody's freaked out here, so I'm not doing nothing. Barbecue wants to talk about what he's doing, but yeah, like you say, it's a good time to be able to get with people. So it's all about, and this year it makes it even more. It makes you appreciate it more, makes it all more valuable to get with people.
Right.
People that you love, people that matter, right?
Yeah, just pretty crazy. My mom doesn't cook. I'm not much of a cook. I was going to drive over to her place, and she was like, "Well, we can go to the Waffle House." I'm like, "Well, if we got to go to the Waffle House, we'll go there." And so anyway, she's getting some turkey dinner sent over from some friends, so we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I figured out at the last minute as I was sitting here eating the last handful of mixed nuts. I'm like, I didn't plan this well. I didn't go to the store. Usually I just go to the store whenever I feel like it in the morning or something when I run out of food. And yeah, I totally forgot last week when I was doing my eBay stuff that this is Thanksgiving week. And then, like I say earlier today, I was like, well, what am I going to do? I looked around. There's nothing open tomorrow. So I went to the store here just before the show. I actually got back late and everything because I was going to the store. And everything was full. I mean, there was basically, it was kind of late, I guess. It was still an hour or something before the store closed, but there was almost as many employees as shoppers, I think. Employees restocking shelves. When I go in the mornings, it's like the same situation. There's as many employees as customers, but they're taking things off the shelves. They're putting them into these blue boxes to take them out to people's cars for the lazy people that just show up and get their groceries carted out to them. And this was like the opposite. Like they're all filling the shelves. And I'm pretty sure they're closed tomorrow. So I guess they're just stocking the shelves for, I guess, Fridays.
Friday. Yeah.
They had a bunch of stuff in the aisles. This is Walmart. So they had a bunch of stuff in the aisles that was, I'm guessing, the Black Friday stuff. I looked kind of through to see if anything was amazing or something, in case I was going there. I didn't see anything that was, like I need or anything. But some of the stuff was just like socks and dumb stuff. So
That's the kind of stuff that was like in the middle of the aisles as you kind of have to walk around it kind of thing. But that was all plastic wrap, so you couldn't, like they have it sitting there, but today you couldn't touch it. Like you'll have to wait till tomorrow kind of thing.
Yeah, there was a manager talking to a bunch of guys what was going to be on all the different end caps, and he had these drawings and diagrams. I guess they were out there for the all night crew getting ready for, Black Friday.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that they haven't done that at my store because they had a whole bunch of signs that were new that were not normal signs that said something about Black Friday sales or something. And I'm like, well, there's no Black Friday sales here. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense if they're going to go in tonight and set all that stuff up. Although I guess people that want the money don't care, but that would be a lame shift to have to run, I guess, the midnight, that night shift before Thanksgiving, because then you come home. Like I said, wouldn't be too bad. You come home, you're tired, you sleep, and then you wake up and have Thanksgiving. That would be all right. It would suck for the rest of your family. It's got to do all the work, but you get to wake up and go right to Thanksgiving. That'd be all right. I don't know if I'd want Thanksgiving for breakfast, though. Not really. I think Thanksgiving for lunch is all right, but I don't think I'd want Thanksgiving for breakfast. Not full Thanksgiving. I know people eat leftovers for breakfast and stuff.
BBQ, what are you doing on the grill tomorrow?
I am going to be up all night smoking turkeys. I actually got to get the first one on the smoker here in about a little over an hour. So
is that you don't put a frozen one on?
Do you brine them first?
If I'm just doing one lone turkey for somebody, I will. But when I've got several to do, there's just no good way for me to brine all those. So although
put a bunch of salt in the bathtub and fill it up.
Yeah, I thought about that, but that just doesn't sound good. Like if I heard somebody was putting my turkey in their bathtub, I'd have questions. But I did have an idea this year, but I thought of it too late. Going and find a 55-gallon drum that was used for food grade materials anyways, and getting one of those and doing a giant brine, and I can just set a bunch of turkeys down in that.
Yeah, you don't have to get 55-gallon drums. Go to like a soda place because they'll often have things that just had like syrup or something dumb in them, or like some kind of powdered garbage that just had to be in an airtight container. But you can I've used them for garbage cans that aren't 55 gallons because that would just be obnoxious. You don't need a giant garbage can in your house or whatever. I think I want to say it's like 33 gallons, and they're like about as big around as a 5-gallon paint can, but taller, like maybe twice as tall as a 5-gallon paint can. And there's a lot of stuff that you can get in that size container because otherwise it's too big to lift. If people can't carry it, you have to use a forklift or something.
Well, no, what I would end up doing is filling it out on the porch, and because like I've said before, normally I end up doing somewhere in the ballpark of 8 to 10 turkeys every Thanksgiving. I'm thinking this year was just slow because of COVID. But so
you get the blue ones. You get them blue food grade containers for $5-10 sometimes, depending on what was in them.
Exactly. That's what I'm hoping to get next year. I know I had bought a couple years ago, and they just happened to be food grade. I wasn't even thinking about using them for anything other than a burn barrel, and it was just a good price on them. And now looking back, I'm like, man, would have been nice to actually save those for something useful, like brining turkeys. But 55-gallon one like that, and then if I really have to, like right now, the weather's cold enough where I could just leave them in that 55-gallon drum and let them brine overnight, and I would have no problem. But if I had to worry about it, I could just start getting bags of ice and pouring them in, keep it nice and cold.
They're not frozen though.
I think the brine cuts down the cooking time about 25%, 20%. I know they cook quicker on mine when I cook on the grill, and they cook a lot quicker than if you don't brine them.
I don't. I've never heard that one. I can't say I personally experienced it, but I mean anything's possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have that grill, the grill that got clobbered by the tree when the hurricane came through. Anyway, so that grill goes up to like 350 maximum, and it only has one temperature setting. And I used it every year for turkey, and then one year we started brining them about 4 years ago, and the cook time just dropped dramatically. So I was like done an extra hour early. But it could have been the size of the turkey, I guess, would be the other variable.
Yeah, that's gonna definitely be a bigger variable than anything else is the size of the turkey.
But it's not like my kids are eating less. So, I think we're getting pretty big turkeys every year. I think that's pretty consistent. Seems like the brining to me. What other turkey tricks you got? Do you put butter under the skin or any bay leaves under the skin?
I'll be putting a seasoned butter under the skin. So all I do is take a couple handfuls of butter, put it in a bowl, add the seasonings that I want, which is typically some garlic powder, black pepper, a little bit of barbecue dry rub, then just hand mix that all in. So a pair of rubber gloves is always nice doing that. That way your hands aren't all greasy afterwards. But so yeah, you get that all mixed in real well and tuck that up under the skin. I'll do an injection. Depending on if I'm going to do a Cajun turkey, I'll make like a Cajun butter injection. But when it's turkeys for an order like this, I normally take chicken broth and add. I'll do a 3-to-1 mixture of chicken broth to lemon juice, add some black pepper into that, and inject the turkey with that.
Did you say how many you're doing this year?
Only 3.
Then
I'm supposed to have.
These are thawed, right?
What's that?
They're thawed, right? You don't put frozen ones in there.
Yeah, no, they're completely thawed now.
But they were frozen. They're not like.
Yeah, they were.
Okay, and then, like if you put I don't remember anymore because I don't do this stuff. But you take a frozen one and it takes like days to thaw, right? And then you put it in the oven and it takes like a half a day to cook, right?
Depending on the temperature you do it at.
So is it same with what you're doing, or is it faster or slower?
It really boils down to the temperature again. General rule of thumb, if you're doing them about 300 degrees or so, it's going to take 15 minutes per pound. So 16-pound bird will take about 4 hours.
And then it's the same. What do you use pellets or something? You don't use propane.
With the smoker I'll be doing them on today, I'm just going to use my pellet smoker. But like when I get the orders like I normally do, if I would have had 8 to 10 turkeys to do this year, I'd have been using my big trailer smoker, and that's all wood fired. And then I would have just used cherry wood or oak.
And then what would wood cost, or what would the pellets cost?
I'm kind of fortunate. I don't really have to pay for wood at the moment because my cousin's husband owns a lumber mill. So all I got to do is call him up, say, "Hey, I need slab wood," and the slab wood they just give it away. They don't charge for it. They just want it gone. So
what are you talking slab wood? What do you mean free? What are we talking about here?
So when they cut the trees down, they'll they call them slabs. Basically, they got to square up the log first.
Are you kidding me? The edge, the crust of the tree,
Yeah.
they throw that away for nothing?
Yep. That's
Oh,
serious.
snap. You could make a million different things out of that shit. And you're just burning it up over there. Holy crap.
Yep.
No,
I
well,
gotta
they do. That's what they make chipboard and particle board and splinter board, all those different OSB, all those different.
That's what I figured. I didn't think they would just give you chunks of good wood. Yeah, I mean, I guess the bark would be annoying. You'd make bark or something out of that. But yeah, the wood, I would think they could just chop it up. But yeah, and I gotta find where I can get a. I don't think there's anything like a sawmill in Arizona though. Been a long time since I cut down trees there.
Yeah, they're pretty far away from each other, I'm guessing, in Arizona.
Yeah, if you can find a lumber mill around you. I mean, some of the mills around here charge for that stuff still, but it's still not even that much.
Yeah.
But
it's not like I really need it for nothing, but if I would have known, if I was living near a cheap source, all my shelves would be made out of that. Like all my furniture would be made out of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't even know. So anyway, so that's good to know. But I was just curious how much if you had to pay for it, then how much is it to keep a thing going for 4 hours? Is it significant or is it like a couple of bucks?
It's really hard telling sometimes. Like I bought 2 bags of pellets yesterday. That cost $40 for the 2 bags of pellets. And those, what's up?
Yeah, but how long does that run?
It really depends because there's a lot of factors that go into it. Your outside air temperature. In this case, it's pouring down rain right now, so that sucks heat out of your smoker too. Is it going to be windy or anything like that? I'm starting off in the middle of the night, so there's no sun beating down on it to kind of keep some of that heat in there. So normally a full hopper in ideal conditions, I bet you I could probably get 16 hours out of. With
15 hours out of a bag.
What's that?
15 hours out of one bag.
Roughly.
And then what's the other extreme?
With current conditions, I'll probably get half that.
All right, so maybe 20 to 40. Well, no, the other way around. 20 to $10 for a session, a 4-hour session.
In that ballpark, yeah.
So it's not insignificant. It's sort of like when back in the day when we go hunting and the gas was cheaper. Like it wasn't a big deal, but you had to remember you were spending $50 on gas.
Yep.
What would that cost for 4 hours of propane?
Propane, I have no idea because I don't use propane.
But for me using propane, I can do probably about 20 different cooking sessions on one 5-gallon thing of propane, one, normal size cylinder. And a couple of those would be longer, like, Boston butts and stuff like that.
Yep.
Well, I'm doing this backwards. I keep muting when I ask the question. What does that cost to refill then?
That's $17. So probably.
I got one. I inherited a gas grill with a thing on it, right? A 5-gallon thing. And I used it probably I don't know. I've used it, right? Or I had used it. And then my friend moved and they were like, hey, do you ever use that thing? Can we have it? I'm like, yeah, of course you can have it. I don't use it ever. And then they used it for a while. And then the other day we just happened to bring it up, or something about a propane tank. And he brought that up or whatever. And he's like, whenever he finally did go to fill that thing, it was so old that they don't use that thread or something anymore. Like he had to go buy a new propane tank because I got it from my grandpa. Like my grandpa had that thing for so long that, and I never used it. I never filled it. So, I just never experienced it. And then by the time he got it, he was like,
kind of
Well-
like giving them something that was only like half a gift. Like, yeah, okay, here's something, but you got to go buy your own tank.
The trick is you just don't fill them. You go to the grocery store and exchange them, and that way you don't have to worry about. Well, I guess in your situation you have to have the right hookup again to put it back, so you do have to get it filled.
Well, and the thing is, you got to start that off, right? You got to pay some down payment originally, right? And then you're just refilling it. But I mean, you don't get it for like $9, and
Yeah, the tank's expensive. The tank's like $40 empty,
Right.
and then it's $17 to fill it.
that's what I figured. Yeah.
Yep.
But mainly, I guess, he takes it to the place and he's like, "Here, refill it." And they're like, "Yeah, not this one. It's using the old one."
When the tree fell on my grill, it's all crumpled around that tank, and so I gotta. I don't want to, lose that tank and have to buy another tank. So I'm gonna have to fight that grill or get a can opener or some hammer and beat that thing out of there.
Just burn the tree down around it. Light it on fire and it'll burn down around it.
Well, the tank is full. I don't really want to go that route.
It'd be an exciting Thanksgiving. Like, oh, I was just trying to deal with that propane tank on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that'd be a whole different insurance claim. Yeah, first the tree fell on, then I caught the tree on fire to get the tank out, and the tank exploded and caught my house on fire. Because G. Webb's told me.
Put all your expensive stuff right there. Like, I was sitting there watching the fire with my expensive binoculars and my camera and my
Stereo.
Stereo. Yeah, listen to the radio.
All right. Well, good night, fellows.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in. And
Thank you.
good Thanksgiving.
All right. Talk to you after Thanksgiving. Will you go tomorrow night?
What?
Will you go tomorrow night?
Yeah, I planned on going. I normally go live. I plan on going live normal time tonight. It's just that I got stuck at the store farting around. But anyway, yeah, thanks for jumping in, and thanks everybody who's out there. Well, not thanks to Ozzy, and thanks to the people that are in here and Lockjaw, I guess. But the rest of the lurkers, not thanking the lurkers. But if it's somebody out there that's hard working and just can't get to the keyboard, maybe Pook is out there working, doing a good, honest day's work, then thank you for them. And we'll be back to pick you up later.